fight with the vampires under a midnight sky. My mind so hypnotized. It was exciting. It was the 90s. Mama didn't understand it, and Daddy always said that I was going too far. Said there's never any compromising if you try to win the battle to be who you are. I dance to the left, I dance to the right, hold hands with my demons and creatures of night, on an undercover mission to find somebody else like me. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Someone who can hear me and drink from the light, to see things from the same side. Is there anybody out there? 5 years later, I'm back with the same old faces and dead end places. Things kept going wrong. I'm getting to thinking my daddy was right all along. So will you take a little walk on the wild side? Be careful that you never slip your hands from the wheel. There's never any compromising when you're blinded by reflections from the part of you that's real. I dance to the left, I dance to the right, hold hands with my demons and creatures of night, on an undercover mission to find somebody else like me. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Someone who can hear me and drink from the light, to see things from the same side. Is there anybody out there? I dance to the left, I dance to the right, hold hands with my demons and creatures of night, on an undercover mission to find somebody else like me. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Someone who can hear me and drink from the light, to see things from the same side. Is there anybody out there? Somebody else like me. Somebody else like me.
Oh. Smackdown was in Montreal tonight. Great wrestling city. Great fans in Montreal. Very loud tonight. Even though they were really given not a whole lot of reasons to be so. But they were in Montreal. First Smackdown here coming out of SummerSlam. And I have but one question to ask you. How is it that this show went from 3 hours to 2 hours and somehow managed to get worse? How does that happen? I don't know. But John Cena was on the show tonight, his first appearance since losing the WWE Championship to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Last week on SmackDown, John Cena seemingly went babyface. Out of nowhere, 48 hours before the main event on night 2, they turned him babyface. And I said I wasn't convinced that it was an actual babyface turn. I thought that maybe there was something going on here, right? This was so sudden. It was so out of nowhere. And to do it before SummerSlam and not do it coming out of SummerSlam was a little weird to me. Now, in hindsight, the match that we got with Cody and John Cena at SummerSlam was fantastic. It was the best John Cena match in years. It was honestly the best John Cena match since he won number 16 against AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble in 2017. That's how far back you would have to go to find a John Cena match that great. So it all worked out in that regard, and he put Cody over when the match was over, and then we all saw what happened at the end of the show, of course, on Sunday with John Cena and Brock Lesnar. There was no follow-up with Brock Lesnar tonight. Brock Lesnar, even though he is a Canadian resident, he was not on the show in Canada tonight. And the limited number of times that John Cena mentioned Brock Lesnar in the opening promo, and it was very limited, was the only mention of him the entire night outside of a video package showing what happened. So if you were hoping for some sort of meaningful follow-up to the John Cena Brock Lesnar thing, why did Brock Lesnar attack John Cena at the end of SummerSlam? Tonight was not the night that you got it. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer. They're going to prolong this. They're going to drag this out. There will be no match between John Cena and Brock Lesnar at Clash in Paris. Maybe they'll try in Perth. Maybe at Crown Jewel on October 10th. Or maybe not. Maybe they're going to drag that out until Cena's final match at the end of the year. I don't know. But what we do have for Clash in Paris is a John Cena Logan Paul match. That match was made official tonight, so he will be wrestling on that show. We also had John Cena in the main event of this show. It was an impromptu main event that they made in the opening segment where John Cena and Cody Rhodes would join forces to take on Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre, who were successful at SummerSlam against Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. That was the tag team main event that they made here for the end of this show. A main event that barely got 10 minutes, probably not even 10 minutes of match time, and ended with Logan Paul giving John Cena a low blow. As the two of them fought off to the back, that left Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre alone to fight at ringside, and McIntyre blasts him with the championship and then delivers a Claymore kick that sends Cody through the bottom part of the announce desk. And Cody is laying there dead. Now, Roman Reigns is going to be filming for Street Fighter in September. I don't know if Cody Rhodes is going to be filming at the same time that Roman Reigns is going to be filming, but this felt to me like a way for them to write Cody off the show for at least a few weeks. So one would assume from this that he perhaps is going to be filming his role as Guile in the next Street Fighter movie imminently, maybe before Roman fills his part. I don't know, but this felt like a way to get him off TV for a little bit and then announce a match with him and Drew McIntyre for Clash in Paris. That appears to be the direction for Paris at the end of the month, would be Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre. That was not made official, but it's very easy to connect the dots based on what they did there in that closing segment. Now, I mentioned that the main event tonight was an impromptu match. Not the only one on this show. Oh no, we had two more impromptu matches. We had Sami Zayn, who was the hometown boy, got a great reaction, obviously, being in Montreal tonight. Monday Night Raw's Sami Zayn, wrestling the United States champion, non-title. He's in the ring against Solo Sikoa. Then we got another impromptu match where Charlotte Flair went one-on-one with Chelsea Green. And I asked this question on Twitter. I will ask it to all of you here watching this review right now. What the hell does Nick Aldis do all day that he has room for so many impromptu matches on this show? He's sitting there all day long in the back, and he has a show to book. He's going on the air live on USA Network at 8 o'clock. He's got 2 hours of television time to fill. And this man apparently has room enough on the show to fill it with a bunch of matches that aren't even made until showtime. What exactly does he do during the day? Does he play cards? Is he scrolling social media? What is he doing? I would like to know. I don't know about this whole general manager business here. He doesn't seem to be doing his job. It's a lot of impromptu matches on one show. This was a terrible show. I did not like this show. I thought this was a terrible show, and it was a show in Canada in front of mostly a hot Montreal crowd. It had John Cena in one of his final appearances. Cena, we're almost out of double digits, okay, with the number of appearances that John Cena has left. before he retires. So they had that going for them tonight. I don't know how it is that you have a show like that, and the nicest thing I could say about it is that it was average at best. And that's me being nice. I did not like this episode. What I felt when it was over, it just felt boring. It just felt boring. The commercials felt longer than they usually are, even though they really weren't, but it felt that way. That's what it feels like when you're watching a boring show. You notice these things a little bit more. I'm also waiting to see what is going to be the next big compelling story on this show. We need at least that one big compelling match, that one big compelling storyline. And whatever John Cena and Brock Lesnar is going to be, obviously they're putting it off for a while. Where is that one big angle, feud, match, whatever it is, that just grabs you and pulls you in? We need something compelling on this show. We have nothing right now. And that's a problem. Now, they set up some new directions. So in some cases, they're just getting started on some of these stories, but I still don't see it. I'm looking around waiting for that compelling story. SmackDown just feels like it's in a rut right now. And John Cena only has so many appearances left. He's not even going to be on the show every single week. So when John Cena is done and he's retired and he's gone, what are they going to fill that with? Because he ain't going to be around for much longer. That's what I'm wondering. But how do we go from 3 hours to 2 hours and somehow the show feels worse? It feels like we've taken a step backwards here. And believe me, 3 hours was not the answer. We would just get 3 hours of this. I don't know. I don't understand it, but we'll talk about it. This is your Friday Night SmackDown review. It is August 8th, 2025. I am the Solomonster. BlissFan says, I miss heel Cena, so you're the one. You know what? As abrupt as it was, the way that they turned him back babyface, it was the right move because the heel turn was not working. The heel turn was a massive letdown. I don't even hate the fact that they have turned him babyface in the way that they did. Was it sudden and kind of lazy? Sure, yeah, it was. It was. But you know what? It had to happen. It had to happen. Because what they were doing before wasn't working. It was forced. It just didn't feel authentic. It was a colossal failure. There's no other way to put it. So I don't even fault them for turning him back babyface. Although there was a segment in the back tonight, and I'll hold off and talk about it when we get to it, involving Cena and somebody else who underwent seemingly a character transformation a few months ago that now has been dropped, seemingly. Based on what they did tonight, it appears that this other character direction has also been dropped out of nowhere. And that too has been a disappointment as I look back at what they did tonight, but we'll talk about that. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open. I'll be reading your messages. You know the drill here. And I appreciate all the support. We had a big Summerslam weekend. I thank you all again for that. I wish I had a much more exciting show to talk about, but it is what it is. Sometimes these reviews can end up being more entertaining than the shows themselves. But anyway, let's get into this.
It's the amazing Gunther.
Get Gunther in here first.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther, the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
Let's get Gunther in here first. Fire Panda making me a little bit happier with the $50 bomb. Fire Panda, I hope you're having a very good Friday night. Better than I am. I will get to your message and everybody else's. Get them on in. And of course, don't forget 400 likes minimum. We're going to do Be the Booker later, so hit that thumbs up. So they wasted no time with John Cena coming out. The smiling babyface is back. John Cena coming out to open the show here in Montreal. They had the ring announcer, Mark Nash, do the introductions once Cena was in the ring. Adding, now they're calling him not only the greatest of all time, I believe he referred to him as the last real champion. So that is how they are referring to Cena. And he was here to celebrate with all of the fans. Cena said for the longest time, WWE was afraid to come to Montreal for fear that the audience would hijack the show. No. Back up a little bit. WWE wasn't afraid to come to Montreal. Vince McMahon was afraid to come to Montreal. And he ain't here no more. Although watching this show tonight, there were moments where I questioned that, and I was wondering if maybe he snuck into the backstage area. But let's be honest here, it was Vince McMahon who was afraid that the fans might hijack the show. It was Vince McMahon when they would go to some of these cities, and if it wasn't Detroit or Chicago or New York City or Boston, if it was some other suburb, right? Well, we can't call it by that name. We gotta go. What's the nearest suburb or nearest city that people would recognize? He had these weird little things about him. That was a Vince McMahon thing. Just to specify here. There, I fixed it for you. Cena said that he wasn't afraid of that possibility, though, because he knew that the audience was the show. Said that if we watched at home, we could see the crowd and go, man, I wish I was there. Man, if only I had $650, I wish I was there. Cena noted that the Montreal crowd was so loud he could barely hear himself talk. He said that it didn't last forever, unfortunately, as the crowd chanted, "Thank you, Cena." Yeah, the Green Pianist, that's a great one. In the shadows of New York City. You know full well if Vince was still running the show. We just had a Summerslam, right, in New Jersey. New Jersey was actually incorporated into the logo. Ain't no way that would have been SummerSlam, New Jersey. It would have been SummerSlam, New York, New Jersey. In the shadows of New York City, right? That's how Long Island used to be treated. He said that he's been coming here for over 2 decades, and he has shared many valuable moments in this ring, and all that he had to say was, thank you. Cena reminded the crowd that after tonight, he has 11 dates left before his retirement. Cena admitted that every time a day goes by, he gets more and more afraid, and he thanked everybody for that. He said that no matter how much he gave to the crowd in the little amount of time left, it would not be enough. And he continued by saying that he was also afraid that after he was gone, and WWE moved on without him, which they should, but when that happens, the fans would forget him. Going for that sympathy card. Of course, well, everybody booed, right? Oh, we're not going to forget you, John Cena. It's kind of hard to do. I mean, he was face of the company for 15 years? It's a little hard to do. So, Cena finally got around to addressing the 275-pound elephant in the room, that being Brock Lesnar. He said there is no universe in which he ever backs down from Brock Lesnar. Is he afraid? Hell yes. He's afraid that Brock Lesnar just got himself a John Cena problem. Said time is winding down, and if any of us saw SummerSlam, we saw that he's not going down without a fight. So Brock Lesnar, when you want some, come get some. And to anyone brave enough to walk that aisle and face off with the last real champion, just know that he plans to go down guns blazing. Says the last time is now, so if you want some, and the fans finished it and said, come get some. So that brought out, not Brock Lesnar, it brought out Logan Paul. Not what people were expecting or hoping for here, but here comes Logan Paul, massive boos. Paul said that this version of John Cena made him sick. Noted that he once respected Cena, but no longer, because he switched up in his eyes. And as he got into the ring, Cena told him that he might have just made the biggest mistake of his life. Paul claimed that the people didn't know who John Cena was and that he did WWE better than any professional wrestler. Cena responded by calling him the biggest dumbass that he has ever seen in his life. So Logan called Cena a liar, said he wanted to face him in a match, and he said that they could do it in a beautiful French-speaking country in the middle of France. He swerved him. He got all these Montreal fans all worked up, and then he swerved him, and they didn't like that very much. He said Cena and him could do their match at Clash in Paris. And as he rambled on, Drew McIntyre suddenly snuck up on Cena. He ambushed him, and as the two heels beat him down, Cody Rhodes ran out to make the save. He helped Cena clear the ring of both heels. Cena accepted Paul's challenge for Clash in Paris, but said, you know, it's pretty clear that you two guys want to fight. And then he threw down the challenge for an impromptu main event tonight where he would tag with Cody Rhodes to take on Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. So there you go. Babyface John Cena. If you weren't convinced already, babyface John Cena is back in full force. Again, abandoning the heel turn was the only move to make here. First of all, he's only got 11 dates left. All right, or maybe after tonight, 10. That's it. And so he was always going to go back babyface at some point as we got into the latter half of this year. He had to. Now, I thought they were going to do a redemption arc. There was a story to tell with John Cena finally seeing the error of his ways and slowly but surely converting and morphing back into the John Cena that we all knew coming into this year. Right? He had dropped little hints of it in different points. He dropped a little hint of it after the match with Randy Orton at Backlash. He dropped a little hint of it the last time we saw him previously in the match with Punk. So we knew it was all building to this. They just decided, you know what, we're not going to wait any longer, and we're just going to have him do it in a promo 48 hours before SummerSlam. So even though I don't disagree with them making the move, I will say there was an opportunity for them to take a little bit of time to tell the story a little bit better. They opted not to do that. They just, it's like, rip the fucking Band-Aid off, and so here we are. Fine. Now we got an impromptu John Cena match on TV, which is nice since we don't get too many of those. He's going to be wrestling Logan Paul in Paris. You know, look, I think that could end up being a good match. I'm not expecting a match like we got with Cena and Cody at SummerSlam. But again, Logan Paul at SummerSlam showed what he can do when he was in there with Jelly Roll and they were in the tag match and he was the MVP of that match. So I will not doubt his ability to go in there and take a match that otherwise might be decent and turn it into a really fun match. We'll see. We'll see what the two of them can do. You know, this is a match that at one point a couple of years ago, I mean, he was claiming on his podcast, he was texting Triple H telling him, hey, you want to make box office records? Put me and Cena in the ring at WrestleMania. I think that was for 39, where Cena ended up wrestling Austin Theory. So now he's getting the match. And, you know, look, does that have a lot of real appeal to me? It doesn't. Again, it could end up being a really good match. I can't say it's a match that gets me terribly excited for Clash in Paris, so we'll see how the rest of the card shapes up. We already know Cody and Drew, which we'll get to. That clearly is going to be a direction, probably for that show. We know Naomi is defending her Women's World Championship from Raw against Stephanie Vicaire. And there's going to be and then we'll find out this Monday what they're going to do. Coming out of Raw this week, there's really a couple of options, right? A tag team match of some kind involving Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and LA Knight on one side against Seth Rollins and his crew, or a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight title with Seth Rollins defending against Punk and LA Knight, which really is what the match should be, because why would Punk and LA Knight not want a championship match after they were both screwed out of championships? So that would really be the match to do. And on these cards, Triple H generally does not like doing more than 5 matches, maybe 6. So I kind of feel like nearly the full card has already come into focus for Paris. But some of the matches haven't been made official yet.
I am the Lord.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes, Stephanie Velcro. Thank you.
Fuck that tree.
Jeremy Rose says, fuck that tree. That tree will not be heading over to Paris. Thank you, Jeremy. Hunter says, I think they do a fatal 4-way for the championship with Roman in the match. Possible. Again, I thought coming out of the angle that they did on Monday that we wouldn't see Roman again until the very end of the month, or maybe he wouldn't even be on that show, but he's being advertised for Raw in 10 days. So he'll be on the show. It's just a matter of what they have him doing. Maybe one-on-one against Braun Breaker. I would probably save that match for... Actually, you know what? I take that back. It shouldn't be Braun Breaker. Save that match for a bigger show. You know what match would make sense? Roman Reigns against Bronson Reed, because Bronson Reed keeps stealing his fucking shoes. The second time now that Bronson Reed has stolen the shoes off of this man's feet. That should be the match at Clash in Paris. Let the other 3 have a triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship. Keep Roman and Seth away from each other until you're ready to do a singles match. I kind of don't like the idea of Roman and Seth being in a match like that if it's not one-on-one. That's just me. We had the Motor City Machine Guns against Talla, Tonga and JC Mateo of Sola Sikoa's MFTs. So they are a team now. Mateo and Alex Shelley, they opened the match. They traded some offense until Shelley and Sabin used a double team move to floor Mateo, sent him outside. Sabin took down Mateo with a suicide dive. Tonga Loa jumped up on the apron, which caused a distraction that gave Talla Tonga time to pick Sabin off the apron and throw him into the barricade. That sent us into one of many commercial breaks that always happen to come at the exact same time. Just moments into these matches. So Mateo worked over Sabin before suplexing him and going for the pin. Shelley broke it up. Talla Tonga made a blind tag before Shelley and Sabin hit Mateo with a double super kick. Shelley and Sabin set it for skull and bones, but Talla Tonga hit Shelley with a big boot that knocked him off the ropes all the way to the floor. And Talla Tonga delivered a choke slam to Chris Sabin and pinned him. Decent at best. This is what they're using the Motor City Machine Guns for. Motor City Machine Guns are not going to be the focus of anything. They're being used to put over a team like the MFTs. And even still, they're not going out there with the intent of having some kind of classic match. You know, they're going out there to put the heels over, to give them some heat. That's what they did. The match was decent. It was decent at best. It looks like Mateo and Talla Tonga are going to be a permanent team going forward. After the match, Solo Sikoa got on the mic. He declared that he and his MFTs are what greatness looks like. If this man was hooked up to a polygraph in the ring and said that, he would fail. Even he doesn't believe that. He said that we are looking at the soon-to-be WWE Tag Team Champions and the most dominant United States champion. Solo's, who's that, by the way? Like, I was scratching my brain for 5 minutes trying to figure out who is he referring to as the most dominant United States champion. I don't know. I'm not sure. Lex Luger is probably still the greatest United States champion, but that's going back a ways. Solo said that he was feeling good. He was ready for a fight, but the problem is that nobody wanted to fight him. He said that this was the last place that he wanted to fight anyway, so he was ready to head out and celebrate when Nick Aldis, what's causing all this? He walked out and he announced that he found someone who was also ready for a fight. Boy, it's funny how quickly that happened. Isn't it amazing? He just so happened to find this person. And he was going to bring that person on out here right now because this person's ready for a fight right here in Montreal. Someone Solo knows very well. Someone that the fans here in Montreal knew very well. And out comes Sami Zayn. To a big reaction here from the hometown crowd. Another impromptu match made for tonight. What is Sami? I understand, like, it's his hometown. But I don't know. Why is Monday Night Raw's Sami Zayn just walking around backstage that Nick Aldis can go, hey, you, come here. I got something for you. I don't know. It's funny how that works. Roderick says Rick Rude. Rick Rude was a very good champion. Yes, he was. I just got done watching a 3-hour Rick Rude compilation from the WWE Vault channel, and there were some good WCW matches on there, but some of them were for the World Heavyweight Championship. By the way, I real quick, it really annoys me. So I'm watching this Rick Rude compilation. There's a match on there with him and Ric Flair. It had to be, I think it was Fall Brawl, September 93. I am still, to this day, I am completely confused by the whole title situation in WCW at that time. Because they're fighting over the big gold belt, right? But then, like, Flair is beating Vader for the... Flair's already the champion. Flair is beating Vader for the belt a few months later at Starrcade. I know they had left the NWA around that time, but, like, there was a world international champion. I am so confused. Like, I looked up the title lineage to just... because I just was having trouble figuring all this out. And I was still... I was just as confused after trying to look up the lineage on Wikipedia as I was beforehand. I don't know what was going on during that period, but it's very, very confusing. So I just want to put that out there. So after a commercial break, it was Sami Zayn against Solo Sikoa. And the crowd broke into an ole, ole, ole sing-along for Sami. At the beginning, Solo tried to beg off by throwing up the ones, just like the old Bloodline days. but he got slapped in the face for his troubles. Zayn sent Sikoa to the outside with a clothesline. He sized him up for a dive and then hit the dive out over the top rope. When he stood up, he was surrounded by the other members of the MFT, my family tree, right in front of the announce desk, and that took us into... oh my God, I thought there was another commercial break here. I don't think they went to commercial here. I was just so scarred by all these commercial breaks. So back in the ring, Sikoa, he ran distraction. That allowed Talla Tonga to climb up on the apron and hit Sammy with a clothesline. Okay, see, I knew it. I knew it was coming up. That's when we got the commercial break. It's going to drive me nuts. So that's when we went into the commercial. Now, we came back with Sammy connecting on a sunset flip powerbomb from the top rope. That got a very close near fall. Zayn followed that up by trying to lift up Solo to no avail. An attempted Blue Thunder Bomb was met by a spinning Solo from the United States Champion, but only for a near fall. So now Solo is sizing Sammy up for a Samoan spike. Sammy, though, gets a boot up, threw him into the corner with an exploder. Sammy looked like he was about to hit a haluva kick, but Tonga Loa provided the distraction. Another exploder was followed by an attempted haluva kick, but JC Mateo this time provided the distraction. Talla Tonga then got up on the apron. He faced off with Sammy, who stood defiant. But this opened him up to a super kick by Solo, and the champion looked like he had this one. He was going to go for the Samoan spike. Sammy, though, ducked it. He got the surprise roll-up, and he pinned the United States Champion. Sami Zayn, Monday Night Raws. Sami Zayn pins the United States Champion. Zayn immediately rolled out of the ring. Solo was sitting there in the ring looking completely confused. And Sami gets the big hometown win. Solid enough match. It feels like it simply existed to get Sami a match in his hometown. That was literally the only reason it felt like for this match to exist. Are they setting up a United States Championship match? They should. I always say it. If you are a champion and you get beaten on TV, if you get pinned on TV in a non-title match, whoever beats you should be next in line for a championship match. And the fact that Sami Zayn is on Monday Night Raw and not on SmackDown, apparently it shouldn't matter anymore because we just had LA Knight, who is still listed on the SmackDown roster, challenging Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. So it doesn't matter. So yes, Sami Zayn should get the next shot, maybe in Paris. I'm not saying that I am over the moon about seeing the match, but if we're being logical here, yes, Sami Zayn should now challenge for the U.S. title. He'll be wrestling Rusev on Raw this Monday. Are we going to see Solo Sikoa and the MFTs on Raw? Oh my God. I hope not, but we might. Yes, I think we will. I think that the MFTs might bleed over into Monday Night Raw. Oh boy. Oh, it goes from bad to worse. X-Gate has opened the Brie Mode Gate. $25 super chat. X-Gate, thank you. Thank you, brother. We got a VHS-style promo from the Wyatt Six. Uncle Howdy said that they would never lead us astray, and when they spoke, they only spoke the truth. Like me. Each member got a chance to speak, and they said that they woke up the SmackDown Tag Team division to their true reality. Said this was about something bigger than the tag team titles, and there are more lessons to be learned. Okay, then. Moving on. Backstage, the Street Profits and DIY, they got into an argument with Tommaso Ciampa calling the Profits a bunch of mother killers for what happened to Candice LeRae during the TLC match at SummerSlam. They even pointed out the huge bruise on her thigh from that ladder spot. So the bickering continued until Nick Aldis interrupted. Not that he was doing anything anyway. He walked in. He said the TLC match doesn't seem like kept everyone in check. So here's what we're going to do. Next week on SmackDown, it's going to be DIY against the Street Profits. I feel like I have watched this movie before. I guess we get to watch it again next week. The new women's tag team champions are Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, a move that I approve of. So now where to next? Well, tonight they made their way out to the ring for a birthday celebration because tomorrow Alexa Bliss turns, I believe, 34 years old. It is her birthday. So the ring was decked out with balloons. They had a cake. Gee, I wonder what'll happen to the cake. And they had a gift box sitting on a table or a podium or whatever, pedestal. So Flair said that Bliss's birthday just so happened to fall at the same time as their championship celebration. And she said that she could have made it all about herself, but she decided to share the spotlight. So Alexa looked at the cake, and the cake had this message in huge lettering that said, "Congratulations, Charlotte Flair." And then in little writing underneath it, it said, "And Alexa Bliss." And it had a PS note that said, "Happy birthday," also in tiny lettering. So Charlotte insisted the cake was for Alexa. Not for me, it's for you. So Flair then opened the gift box and presented Alexa with Lily the doll. Oh, God. We're back to the doll. You know, for some of these shows, I feel like I need a doll. I do. I feel like I need some sort of therapy doll sitting right next to me. I'm this close. So Lily the doll is back. And then Charlotte said, well, since you and I are tag team partners, Lily has to have a tag team partner too. And she pulled out is it Charlie? It's Charlie, right? You pronounce it Charlie? The Charlie doll. From 4 years ago, she said. I barely have any memory of this. I think I may have blocked it out. But from 4 years ago, I guess when they last feuded, there was a Charlotte doll. It's basically the Alexa doll, but with long blonde hair. Long blonde locks. Again, I barely have any recollection of this, but she presented it to her. And the crowd started chanting Charlie. We got a Charlie chant here from this crowd. Don't encourage this. Don't encourage this. So Flair then gave Bliss permission to hug her. And Alexa said, I don't know if that's really necessary. And Charlotte said, you may hug the queen. So a reluctant Alexa went in for a hug, but before we could get the hug, they were interrupted by Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervis. Voodoo doll. Hey, you know what? I already got my doll. That's right. I got my voodoo doll. A few more episodes like this, and I may have to start putting some curses on people. So Chelsea said that she's a proud Canadian, but the fans supporting Flair and Bliss made her want to turn in her passport. She heeled on the Montreal Canadiens hockey team. She told Bliss that she had... now, Flair did. Flair told Alexa, you know what, Lexi? I got another gift for you. The gift of kicking Chelsea Green's ass. So Nick Aldis walked out with a referee that I've never seen before, which stopped Chelsea from leaving. Aldis wished Bliss a happy birthday and said that his gift was a brand new referee. And he said the new referee's first assignment would be working the match between Charlotte Flair and Chelsea Green, who threw a fit as they went to a commercial break. That is the third impromptu match of the night. We got 3 of them on this 2-hour show. The fans in this segment here, they did not really react to the cake bit, but the Charlie doll, they got a Charlie chant going, so they like that. By the way, I have to ask this question. I should have looked this up, but help me out here. I'm sure there's some rational explanation for this. Why are the Montreal Canadiens called the Habs? I know they're called the Habs, but I have no idea why. Can someone just fill me in on this? Why are they called the Habs? The Habs and the Have-Nots. Let's go backstage before we get to this match here, because here's somebody that we don't get to see very often on SmackDown, Carmelo Hayes. Even when the show was 3 hours long, we didn't get to see him all that often. But here he is. Carmelo Hayes is in the back, and he goes to knock on Nick Aldis's office door. But of course, Nick Aldis is not in because Nick Aldis does not do his job when he's in the back. Nick Aldis was off somewhere, probably playing a fucking arcade game. So he knocks on the door, and who answers the door but The Miz? The Miz answers the door. And Carmelo wasn't very happy to see him. He said, "What the hell happened to you? You disappeared on me for 2 months. You were supposed to help take me to that next level, and you vanished on me." So Hayes said that he was going to go talk to Aldis about getting himself a United States Championship match. And Miz stopped him and said that he had already gone to Nick Aldis and gotten them a tag team match next week. He asked Hayes if they were good, and he did their stupid little catchphrase, "I'm the Miz, and I'm, whatever, we're Oss him." It's so stupid. And Carmelo was like, "Okay." And they shook hands and he walked off. And after he left, Nick Aldis showed up and he asked, "What was that all about?" And Miz said Aldis was just the man he wanted to talk to. So basically, he lied to Carmelo Hayes about getting them that tag team. I mean, he may get them a tag team match now, but he had not already spoken to Nick Aldis. That was bullshit. So we'll see what ends up happening between the two of them next week. By the way, you might be interested to know, or maybe not, Carmelo Hayes wrestled tonight. Not on SmackDown. He wrestled on Main Event. Got a win over Axiom. At least he can actually win a match somewhere. Would have been nice to see that match on this show tonight. So we had Charlotte Flair against Brie Bella. I'm rooting for Charlotte in this match. Funny how Carmelo is talking about disappearing. Yeah. Nobody does a better disappearing act than him. So Habs is short for habitants, the early French settlers of New France, which is known today as Quebec. There you go. See, I knew there was an explanation for it. I never would have guessed that. So now I know. Thank you. See, we're all trying to educate each other around here. It's very important information I need to know. Charlotte Flair against Chelsea Green. Flair had the advantage early on. Green finally got the upper hand with a boot to the face. On the apron, Flair fended off Alba Fire and Piper Niven before she took to the top rope and hit a diving crossbody for a near fall. The Secret Hervis, they provided a momentary distraction, which really didn't provide any sort of real advantage whatsoever for Chelsea. There was a roll-up attempt by Charlotte that got countered by Chelsea as she pushed Charlotte into the middle turnbuckle, and that took us into a commercial break. We came back and we found out that the birthday cake from the birthday celebration in the earlier segment was placed outside the ring during the commercial break while the match was in progress. Flair connected with natural selection, but Chelsea kicked at it too. As Flair tried to run at her, she was met with a big boot, but Charlotte quickly recovered and tried to head up top. Green stunned her and landed a superplex for a near fall. Chelsea then motioned to the Secret Hervis to bring the birthday cake to her. And so Piper Niven and Alba Fire, they slid the cake into the ring. On the outside, Alexa Bliss took out both members of the Secret Hervis with a dive. Inside the ring, Green set Flair up for an unpretty her onto the cake. Charlotte, though, reversed it and delivered an unpretty her of her own and dropped Chelsea face first down onto the cake. And then she applied the figure 8 for the submission victory. Shout out to Whitney. Whitney just upgraded their membership from Sound Off Superstar to Sound Off Legend. You are a legend in my book. Thank you, Whitney. You want to check out some of the earliest shows I've ever done, episode 1 through 13 so far of the Sound Off. That is up for the Legends tier members. I sound like a completely different person on those shows. This was a solid match. Fans popped for the cake spot. So there's that. You know, I'm all for doing more skits and stuff like that with Charlotte and Alexa to get over the fact that they have this newfound friendship. I mean, this segment isn't what I was kind of hoping for, but more of this kind of stuff, but maybe in kind of vignette form would be nice to see. But this is what we got. We got Lily the doll, and we got Charlie the doll, and we got a cake here on this show. Very good. Now we go backstage. Tiffany Stratton was interviewed by Kathy Kelly about what was next for her. Coming out of SummerSlam, she got that big win over Jade Cargill. She said that she would just keep on doing what she's been doing for the past 216 days. She was interrupted by Jade Cargill, the loser from SummerSlam. And she promised that the outcome would be different next time that she and Stratton face it. Next time. She got beat. Actually, you know what I loved about this? She said the outcome would have been very different had she not gotten her foot on the bottom rope. That was after she hit Jaded. But of course, if you remember that match at SummerSlam, it was Jade who looked like she placed Tiffany's foot on the rope. So she's got nobody to blame for that but herself. I kind of laughed when she brought that up here. So as Stratton left, Jade was confronted by Julia and Kiana James, who handed Jade her business card. Cargill said that she would go after the title on her own time. And I assume here she was referring to the World Championship. I don't believe she was referring to the U.S. title, even though Julia is the United States champion. Basically, she was telling James, keep the card. I don't need your help. And Kiana told her, keep the card anyway. And the two of them walked off. So then finally, Michin showed up. We went from Tiffany to Jade, from Jade to Kiana and Julia, and from Kiana and Julia to Michin. This was quite the journey that we took here in this backstage segment. So Michin shows up, and she says, you really going to use that card? And Jade says, nope. And she handed it to Michin. And Michin said, I might just give Kiana a call and get myself a United States Championship match. Do any baby faces other than Michin and Zelina Vega give a shit about challenging for the United States Championship? Because they're the only ones who seem to care. What other baby faces in the women's division do they even have on this show who would be at that level wrestling for that title? B-Fab? I don't even know if they have anybody else. Everyone else is pretty much accounted for. Bianca Belair is going to come back and probably go after the world title. Jade wants to go back after the world title. I mean, you got Candice LeRae. No, she's a heel. That may be it. We may be looking at Zelina, Michin, and B-Fab as the only other female baby faces left on this show. It just feels like it's the same people over and over again. No hint, though, here of heel Jade Cargill. I really thought there was a chance on this show coming out of SummerSlam that she might turn heel, or there might be some big hint of a heel turn coming. Because, in all honesty, like, I was expecting that we would end up getting a rematch at some point, maybe in Paris, between Jade and Tiffany. Maybe, I don't know if that's going to happen in Paris, though. It really just depends on the number of matches that are already set for the show. Maybe they do it on SmackDown the Friday before. So it's pretty clear, I think we're going to get a rematch between the two. I still think there's a decent chance that Jade ends up going heel out of this. By that point, Bianca may be back. You could branch off and do something with Bianca and Jade, kind of in the long term. That's the direction that I see with Jade. I just think she would be better in that role. They aired an Aleister Black video package. Said that he's allowed to use violence to stop greater violence. And if you think that's evil, then there's no such thing. The crowd cheered Damian Priest, who he said was out with a hairline fracture to his jaw. They cheered Priest trying to put him through a table. Well, Black isn't an eye for an eye guy. He's a head for an eye kind of guy. He warned us all that violence begets violence, so he escalated things. When Priest is pushed, he pushes back. But when Black is pushed, he pushes you off a cliff and he waits to hear you hit the ground. It's like the Roadrunner and the Coyote. Coyote always fell to the ground. You always saw that little plume of smoke. I don't know why that made me think of that, but I would have rather have watched that than this show, quite frankly. In fact, I might do that when we're done here. John Cena was walking backstage. Here we go. John Cena is walking in the back, and R-Truth shows up. I don't know that we've seen R-Truth since that Saturday night's main event match. Actually, no, that's not true. He wrestled Aleister Black many, many weeks ago. But we haven't seen all that much of him since they brought him back to the company, because there was no plan to bring him back. He was fired. And then there was such an uproar over it that they decided, not only from the fans, but from people in the locker room, that they brought him back, right? Now, that's great. He got his job back. We haven't seen too much of him, but one of the things that we saw was on Raw, right after they brought him back. Stood up on the announce desk, he cut a serious promo, and he cut his hair off. It was like him parting ways with the old R-Truth. That R-Truth is dead. This is Ron Killings. And I thought, this is pretty cool. We're going to get to see a different side of R-Truth, a more serious side, because he's played the comedy goofball for years, and it worked for him. But you know what? Now's a good time to get a little more serious. And let's see what they can do with it. So he confronts John Cena here in this backstage segment, and they act like they're mirror images. Going like this, going like the Doinks at WrestleMania 9. And Truth said that, you're back. And if Cena's back, then I'm back too. Cena said that he was worried about Truth because he acted really weird for 5 months there. Cena said Truth changed his hair, he was really mean to people, and he even made that one kid cry in Brussels. Cena said Truth claimed that he wanted to ruin wrestling, and then he asked him, you ever really thought that was going to work, did you? Cena told Truth that it was good to have him back, and then he walked away, leaving Truth very confused. He was not the only one. So much for serious Ron Killings. R-Truth the Clown is back. So much for that. That was certainly my takeaway from this segment. Whatever idea they may or may not have had for a more serious R-Truth has seemingly been flushed down the toilet. It's as if it never happened at all. Kind of the same thing with the John Cena heel turn, right? It's as if it never happened at all. And while I agree with it for John Cena, the fact that they really didn't do anything with R-Truth, I mean, he cut his hair off. He probably wanted to anyway. He was probably like, it's time. So let's incorporate it into the show. Can you imagine if it wasn't? If that was something the company recommended that he do? Because we're gonna make you more serious. And he cuts his fucking hair off and they're like, yeah, you know what? On second thought, we're just gonna turn you back to what you were doing before. It's fucking people. Oh, man. What a waste. They could have done something there. The main event was John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Quizzical says 64 more likes to hit the Be the Booker goal. Let's do it. Joey says the former two-time NWA World Champion Ron Killings is dead. He didn't really have enough time to live, quite frankly, here on this show. Just, I don't know. There was some fun stuff that could have been done there, but what are you going to do? John Cena and Cody Rhodes in the main event against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. 20 minutes went by between them announcing that the main event was coming up next and the time that the main event actually started. That left us with less than 10 minutes of actual match time for a main event that they announced with John Cena in it, right? Nice big hook there, nice big attraction here for the end of the show. So we wait the full 20 minutes, we get the match, we don't even get 10. These shows are insufferable when it comes to stuff like that. It has never been this bad before. I feel it now more than ever when I watch these shows, Raw, SmackDown, but it feels like it's worse on SmackDown for some reason. With the long breaks, and then you go into the next one, and it is insufferable. So Cody and Logan started things off. After a suplex, Rhodes tried to tag in Cena. Logan, though, rolled him up and dragged the champion back to the heel corner as McIntyre tagged into the match. Cody caught him with a running power slam. Meanwhile, Paul ran a distraction, which gave McIntyre the chance to blast Cody with the Glasgow Kiss. McIntyre in the ring provided a distraction of his own as Logan hit Cody with a clothesline out on the floor. And that took us into another commercial with a little over 5 minutes left in this show. We came back with McIntyre attempting to prevent Cody from making the tag to Cena. And it's funny, too, because Cody was, literally fingertips away from Cena, and I'm pretty sure they touched. And you could see Cena like, back up, back up, back up. Like, you're too close. Cena's like pulling back. So I think he did tag him, but they didn't call it a tag. Rhodes managed to create some separation after avoiding a shoulder charge from McIntyre, which sent him crashing into the post. This allowed Cena to get the hot tag, and the crowd was very happy to see him tag in, and he unleashed his 5 moves of doom on Logan Paul. He delivered the 5-knuckle shuffle, the attitude adjustment. McIntyre broke up the pin. Then he targeted Cena for a Claymore kick, but Cody intervened. And at that point, Logan Paul caught John Cena with a low blow for the disqualification. And this tag team main event is over. Just like that. And that was also, by the way, the end of John Cena's final match ever in Montreal. So Logan and Cena, they brawled to the back, while Cody and McIntyre, they fought at ringside. McIntyre smacked Cody in the face with the WWE Championship. And with the champion sitting prone in front of the announce desk, McIntyre delivered a Claymore kick that managed to break the bottom part of the announce desk and put Cody through it, as Cody laid there underneath the desk, unconscious, and officials poured out to swarm the area. So the match was brief. It existed solely to set up the next 2 big directions on this show, likely both for Paris. We know John Cena is wrestling Logan Paul in Paris. And while no official announcement yet has been made because they just shot the angle, it looks like Cody, I don't see any reason why Cody would not be on that show. It looks like Cody will be defending the title on that show. And it will be against Drew McIntyre, which I'm okay with. I think Drew is a good choice. I think you can get a couple of matches out of it. First match can be in Paris. They could do a rematch in Perth. This felt like a way to write Cody off the show for a while so that he can go off and maybe film for Street Fighter, unless he's not filming until September, like Roman Reigns. But I would not expect to see him on the show next week. But then again, sometimes they do an angle like this and you see the guy back on the show. He's got, tape on his ribs and he's back next week. So who the hell knows? But it didn't feel like we're going to be seeing Cody on the show next week. And no Brock Lesnar follow-up, which is probably what a lot of people were waiting to see. Would he be on the show? Or would there be some sort of explanation about why? Which we never actually got when Brock feuded with Cody Rhodes 2 years ago, which is the last time we saw Brock. The last feud he had was with Cody. And we never got a real explanation from him on why he attacked Cody. So why would it be any different with John Cena? But yes, there was no follow-up on that story. When this show was over, again, you're in Canada, you're in Montreal, which is one of the great wrestling cities in the world. And they were hot for, some of the things on this show. They were hot for John Cena. They were hot for, Cody and seeing them tagging in the main event. They were hot for Sami Zayn, obviously. And you had the added attraction of John Cena actually wrestling on TV, which is a rare thing. And yet, when this show was over, I was completely bored. This show, the big Smackdown, first Smackdown coming out of SummerSlam, and it just, yes, they did set up some new directions. But the show, you still want the show to be entertaining. And for me, it completely missed the mark. I was waiting for something to really grab me on this show, and it missed the mark. And I thought this was a terrible episode of SmackDown. This show was a slog to sit through tonight. So they need to do better next week. We have some new directions for Paris. That's not coming until the end of the month. So we'll see what they do, especially if Cody's not going to be around, what they do to build up that match with him and Drew. If we get that. I don't know when John Cena's next appearance is. I don't know that he'll be on the show next week. I haven't checked his calendar. Again, he's only got about 10 or 11 appearances left. So we shall see. But yeah, this SmackDown tonight was no good. I'm sorry. This was not it, this show. Let's take the poll on the screen here and check it out. How would you grade SmackDown from Montreal? Barely 20% give this show an A. 31% give it a B, 23% give it a C, and 26% give it a D. Yeah, I'm in the C and D category. Probably a solid C is what it would get from me. At Solomonster is where you can vote on X. Melissa says, without SmackDown, sleeping would be impossible. She said, I thought it was, that said sleeping would be, never mind. Thank you, Melissa. Sleep down? You know what? If I didn't have to take notes, it might have been. It might have been. You know, I don't know, man. SmackDown can be very hit or miss, but there was a period of time, especially earlier this year, where SmackDown was just absolutely fucking terrible. And I wouldn't say it's been fucking terrible, you know, for the last few weeks, but this show reminded me more of something we would have seen earlier this year, and that's not a compliment. That's not a good thing. All right, let's take a look at your super chats here. Thank you, guys. We are currently, by the way, sitting at 379 likes, so we need about 20 more. If we hit 20 more, we'll be doing Be the Booker here. Death Scythe is going to get us started out here. What's going on, Death Scythe? Feels like Triple H took all his frustrations he had with Vince and projected it onto Austin Theory. And he has buried and made to look like a clown. Yes, Austin Theory is injured. Apparently it's a legitimate injury, not just something Grayson Waller was talking about on TV. So that's why he's been removed from the active roster. Not because he's leaving, but because he's hurt. But yes, go back prior to him getting hurt, and it's not like Triple H was doing anything with Austin Theory. I don't think Triple H likes Austin Theory very much. Not that he has anything personal against him, but if he really truly liked him and believed in him, we would see him on TV, and we don't. I don't need him to tell me that. I could just judge it based on how he uses certain people and doesn't use other people on this show. He is clearly not an Austin Theory guy in the way that Vince McMahon was. JDFA, or JDFVA. Cena in the Hall of Fame when? When they need a big name in the Hall of Fame and he's available. They'll make it happen. Right? We know he's going in. We know Rock is going in. We know Batista's going in. It all comes down to their availability. If Cena's shooting a movie and can't make the commitment to be at the Hall of Fame and be at WrestleMania next year, then it won't be in Vegas. You know, they'll hold out for another year. But I don't really think there's a big rush to do it. Holiday 197 says, hi, Solo. It's unlikely to happen, but I hope Cody drops the belt to Drew, with Orton screwing Cody leading to a WrestleMania program. Then if Sammy wins the Rumble, he can pick between Seth and Drew. Sammy has a story with both of them. Well, the story with Drew McIntyre is that Sami Zayn has never beaten him. They've had a whole bunch of matches, and Sami Zayn has just never been able to beat Drew McIntyre. So you're right. There is a story there with both men. They wanted to do that. But they're not going to take the title off Cody just yet. Especially to keep it off of him until WrestleMania. They're not going to do that. They didn't put the belt back on Cody just to take it off of him that soon. William says, Solomonster, I was thinking about wrestling on the drive to work tonight and wonder if you can opine on the best You People promos that you recall. I don't know about all of them, but the Bret Hart one from 1997 is probably my favorite. Talking about all you people as all of you American wrestling fans. To me, if that isn't the best one, that's one of the better ones for sure. When he went heel. Boots. What's going on, Boots? Says Solomonster serenaded Nick Wayne's mom. Can you sing happy birthday to Alexa Bliss and send her the clip on behalf of the chat? I'm asking for a friend. I cannot. No, that would be creepy. I think Alexa Bliss gets enough creepy videos and messages from people. I don't want to pile on that. I will just do this. I will wish, and we can have everybody in the chat wish her a happy birthday and throw up the birthday cake emojis. We all wish Alexa Bliss, no one more so than our resident Bliss fan, a very happy birthday tomorrow. There you go. Death Scythe. How is Michael Hayes still employed? The plane ride from hell, making an ass out of himself at Triple H's wedding, using a racial slur, the Janelle Grant lawsuit. He could have his own Dark Side of the Ring episode. He could, yes. But there he was, all over WWE Unreal. Him and Bruce, they have withstood the test of time. Joseph Stewart, was Raven an influence on Bray Wyatt's cult leader gimmick? I don't know if Bray ever talked about Raven as an influence on the gimmick. It's possible, but I don't recall him ever specifically singling out Raven. Not to my knowledge. Dried chicken. AEW, TNA, and NXT got all the flavor, funk, and swag on these wrestling shows. Also, like the Hurt Syndicate, I'm giving WWE under Triple H a thumbs down. This show tonight gets a thumbs down. Joseph says, buy or sell DDP Self High Five theme song or Raven's WCW theme song? DDP. DDP Self High Five for sure. Love that song. Joseph says, did you play any WCW video games? I did. I played WCW NWO Revenge. That might have been the only one I played. Dry Chicken says, less is more in WWE equals the bare minimum. Well, I mean, sometimes it feels like they do the bare minimum and they know they can get away with it. I mean, look at all the guaranteed money they have pouring in, right? Their audience just, eats up whatever they give them. You watch, I mean, even just me saying that I didn't like this show tonight, right? Like the hate that I'll get. Because there are, and this is a problem across both companies. But for all the AEW sickos that there are who truly do live up to the word, WWE has almost an equal amount that will lap up whatever is given to them. And, God help the person who dare says that, they didn't like this show or this show sucked or this show was boring, and they'll give you a thesis as to why you're wrong. Why my opinion is wrong. That's what always makes me laugh. But it brings me great joy knowing that on some level it bothers them that much. Like truly. It truly makes me happy. Joseph says, buy or sell the Rock song You're Welcome from Disney's Moana or the Rock Pie song from WWF WWF Music, he says, Volume 5. Oh my God, I forgot about that Pie song. I don't know, the You're Welcome song from Moana is not bad. I'll buy on that one. Also, in your opinion, do you think the role of Maui is The Rock's signature movie role? Boy, I know what your favorite movie is. Is that his signature movie role? I think if you were to ask Rock, he was kind of hoping Black Adam would be his signature movie role. But I guess Maui probably would be. Those movies are very popular. WWE Wrestling and Gaming with Cena versus Logan in Paris. I think the Brock return was just a one-off and the potential match is scrapped due to fan backlash. That is absolutely not the case. Let me tell you something. I'll tell you two things, and I'm going to talk a lot more about Brock on the Sound Off this weekend, but two things. Number one, WWE doesn't give a shit. They've made that very clear. They don't care. Number two, if Brock was scrubbed and they canceled their plans, he would not have been mentioned on the show tonight. He was mentioned in a video package. They showed highlights of him coming back, and John Cena brought him up in his promo. So, no. They're going to drag this out as long as they possibly can. Again, maybe the match happens in Perth next month. But no, the match has not been scrapped. By the way, the only reason that I am not scrolling here yet is because these are the ones that came later. So I'm still catching up to the early ones. So, and it keeps resetting and going back to the top of the list, which is very annoying. Yes, Cripple Punk. Absolute Cinema. Thank you, Cripple Punk. Anyway, we'll get to the ones on screen once I catch up with them here in a little bit. I hate this new makeover they gave it. Sanders with a $4.99. What's going on, Sanders? If you are a fired WWE wrestler and they try to get you to come back immediately, just remember what they did to Truth. Then it's on you at that point. Yeah. Pretty much. I bet he was excited to kind of try a new direction for his character. And tonight, again, it's like all that stuff just didn't even happen. It's like, well, if you're back, then I'm back too. And it's like, well, that's it. We're back to the goofball comedy. Joseph Stewart, have you seen Dustin Hoffman's movie Tootsie? You know, I never saw Tootsie. I never saw it. Abyssal Zones. I had considered attending this Smackdown in person because originally LA Knight was advertised. Thankfully, I didn't. So I saved myself hundreds of dollars. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Although I will say I did see a note. The tickets for Forbidden Door are selling really well for the O2 in London. And apparently the tickets on the secondary market for AEW that night are the highest they've ever been. And like the cheapest get-in ticket, like whatever the equivalent would be in pounds, is like $600 or $700 American. Like something crazy. Like these are like WWE numbers. I'm like, that's ridiculous. But they're popular over there. They're very popular in the UK. Dry Chicken says Paul Levesque can try to rig the game, but he can't fake influence. At the end of the day, wrestling fans can decide who they want to believe. Joseph Stewart with a $9.99. Would Kurt Angle have joined ECW if not for the Raven and Sandman angle that they did? I feel like Angle might have come in for a match or two, but ultimately he was going to end up in WWE. I really don't think it would have made that much of a difference. I don't think it like changed the course of history or anything like that. I think he would have ended up exactly where he ended up. All right, so now we can catch up here with this list. Fire Panda with a $50 super chat. Quick question. With how quickly Cena turned face again, does that mean the heel run is now non-canon? Was it all a fever dream in the story of WWE? Did we accidentally slip into the Twilight Zone for 5 months? I'm confused. No. I think he explained it last week when he said that it took Cody to kind of give him that kick in the ass that he needed to realize that he had made a mistake. And he allowed himself to get duped by, without naming them. He basically said The Rock and Travis Scott, who were supposed to be there with him the whole way, and they weren't. So no, they acknowledged it, and he just kind of woke up from the daze that he was in, and now he's back to being himself. It's as simple as that. Hey, Naj, what's going on, Naj? Yeah, this SmackDown sucked. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, brother. It was no good. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. Barry says, have they said where all the old shows go when WWE's deal with Peacock ends? I've been waiting months for Netflix to just have all the old Raw shows. No, they have not, because that's not part of this ESPN deal. And what they'll have to end up doing is work out another deal. And that way, because the NXT PLEs don't have a home as of next year. So all of this will be worked out before then, but as of this moment, other than the Vault channels on YouTube, the answer is no. When the Peacock deal is over, unless they make a new one before then, which they probably will, whether it's with Peacock or Netflix or someone else, the library content will just sort of be in purgatory until they reach a deal to bring it somewhere else. But that stuff will not be on the ESPN streaming service. That is not part of this deal. Duff's Vids, when a deaf girl gives you a hand job, wouldn't that be considered... Or, is that a 0? Yeah, that's just the bad... the punchline just is no good on that one. I don't like that one. I like you. You're okay. Jeremy Rose with the 12. WWE fumbled this while Cena's last run, other than a money grab. Nothing compelling. Horrible heel turn. Last second lazy face turn now. 2 months left. What is there to look forward to? Well, they're hoping that you're going to look forward to Brock being back. Tony Baloney McCall, $10 super chat. Who called Naomi as a better heel turn than John Cena on their 2025 bingo card? Not me. Xgate, thank you for the 25. Activating Brie mode. Oh, it wouldn't send with the letter O. I wouldn't send with the letter O. Why are you not allowed to use the letter O? You have the letter O in the rest of the super chat. That makes no sense. But yeah, that's no good either way. Retro KOH, do you think they are setting up for War Games with Seth's crew, with possibly 1 or 2 others against Punk, Knight, Roman, etc.? Feels that way. I mean, who else would be in there? The MFTs? I mean, who else is going to be in War Games? Duff's Vids. What's an adult star? You know, I hate that with this new format. Every time it updates, for whatever reason, it knocks the list all the way down, and I have to scroll down to go find it again. What's an adult star's favorite animal? A cockatoo. Better. Still not quite there, but better. Holiday 197, the WWE Championship has not been defended on SmackDown in a year. It needs to be defended on that show a little bit more. SmackDown needs attractions. Well, even when they get attractions, like a John Cena match, that doesn't mean it's going to be a good show. Tonight was a great example of that. But I agree, it's okay for the WWE title to be defended on SmackDown every now and then. Was the last time the cage match with Cody and Solo? That was in September of last year. I don't remember the title being defended on SmackDown since then. Xgate, thank you for the 25. Duff's Vids, what's the difference between Disney Plus and Pornhub? Disney Plus wants you to hate your stepmother. Thank you, Duffs. Terrible Dried Chicken. Carmelo Hayes is going to go up to Paul Levesque, slap him, purposely get himself released. Either Melo moves over to Raw or he gets out of WWE. No, I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he wants to leave. I just think he wants them probably to do more with him. I mean, how could he not? There's no way he's content in the role that he's in right now. He wants to contribute in a meaningful way. Anybody on that roster would feel the same way. So I think he wants to have success in WWE. You know, and his fiance works in NXT. That is Kelani Jordan. Retro says, if Solo needs a doll, let's chip in together and buy him a real doll. The shows will never upset him again. You know how much those things are? Duff's Vid says, if you fall in your own driveway, you can't blame anybody else because it's your own asphalt. Your own asphalt. Whitney, thank you again for upgrading. Sound off legend. JDFVA, celebrating 16 months of membership. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you. I will try. Thank you for the 16 months. Duff's Vids, why was the crow on top of the telephone pole? He was trying to make a long distance caw. That's so bad. That's so bad. You're right though, the asphalt one, I will remember that one. This one we flush away. What's going on, Jake? And Jake, the original tribal chief, in the chat with us. MLK010. What is your Mount Rushmore favorite wrestling moments? I don't have a Mount Rushmore of favorite wrestling moments. I have favorite wrestling moments though. His is Kurt Angle's TNA debut, The Rock and Hogan stare down at WrestleMania, Triple H returns in 2002, and the WrestleMania 40 Endgame. The WrestleMania 40 Endgame is a favorite of mine. Again, I don't have a Mount Rushmore for everything like this, so all I can tell you is that there's certain moments that are favorites, like the Mega Powers split on the main event back in '89 on NBC. That's one of my earliest favorite moments and most memorable moments. I think Hogan slamming Andre at Mania 3 has to be among those moments. It's that epic moment, you know, with the crowd behind them and everything, that iconic moment. I mean, my God, talking about moments. Jeez, there's been so many of them. When Bret Hart came back in 2010, I never thought I would see him back on WWE television. There he was. I just wish that they didn't change his music. That part of it was no good. I think the Edge spear on Jeff Hardy and TLC in 2001 has to be on there as well. Again, there's just too many to sit here and name. Those are some of them. MacTub, Taker or Triple H, greater overall performer, and why? Well, I mean, they're similar in that they've both been heel, they've both been babyface, so they've played both roles. Undertaker has evolved his character numerous times over the years, so he was able to stay relevant for a much longer period of time than most people in his position. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between them. Undertaker's matches got better the deeper into his career that he went. I mean, some of the best matches of his career happened in the mid to late 2000s. I gotta go Undertaker. Probably just enjoyed his body of work overall more. Just on a personal level. Dried chicken. Charlotte Flair need... Charlotte, oh my God. It's doing it again. This is not going to work. Oh, man. Charlotte Flair. Let's go back. Can we find this again, please? There it is. Charlotte Flair needs some dreadlocks, ripped up jeans, and a bandana. That would complete her transformation. Named Charlie. Yeah, let's not do that. That sounds awful. Javier 316. Hi Solo, catching up on one of your streams. Do you think Stephanie Vicaire has a chance of beating Naomi in Paris, and where do you see her going next? She's got a chance. I don't think she's going to. I can't say that she has no chance. I think Naomi's going to hold it for a little while longer. I think that Rhea will get a shot in Perth, whether it's at Crown Jewel or on Raw that Monday. Because again, we don't know for sure yet if they're doing the whole champion versus champion gimmick again at Crown Jewel. If they do, then it wouldn't be Rhea. But they're doing a Raw show in Perth that Monday, so I think she's going to get a shot there. She may win the title back there. I think that's the direction for her. For Stephanie, I think the longer term direction, honestly, is Stephanie and Rhea. I mean, that should be a WrestleMania match. In the meantime, you could have Stephanie challenging Becky soon for the Intercontinental Championship. I would love to see that. Becky and Stephanie for the IC title? I think that should be a direction in the probably the latter part of this year. Like, that could be Becky's next big feud, and you can drag that out for a few matches. Pay it off with Stephanie winning the championship. That's what I'd like to see. We got MacTub. Why aren't people as harsh on Austin for wife beating as they are on Hogan for Again, it got knocked down. Yeah, this new system sucks. I fucking hate this new system, man. Every fucking time. It's just, you know what? I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Pause this shit. I just realized I have a pause button. I should have been using it. Anyway, let me see if I could find it again here.
Nick Wayne's mom has got it going on. She's all I want, and I've waited for so long. Nick Wayne, can't you see? Go away and leave me be. I hope she likes this song, cause I'm in love with Nick Wayne's mom.
Nick Wayne's mom has got it going on. Nick Wayne's mom has gotta love this song. Hell yeah, man. Eminem. Rocking out to the beats. You're gonna be playing that on your Spotify playlist, aren't you, when you're working out at the gym? I don't blame you. But MacTub, yeah, I talked about this recently because somebody brought up a similar question. I could just find it. Here we go. I paused it and it's still knocking down. He says, surely violence is worse than words. Well, it's all bad, but yes, that is awful. That is terrible. I think that there are a lot of people who feel different ways about different people for their own very unique reasons. And I think people are, and this doesn't make it right or wrong, but there are people who are willing to tolerate certain things with people who maybe they have a greater liking for, as opposed to somebody who they don't. Is it hypocritical? Sure. Because that's an awful thing. But is it because when you see or hear it yourself that it makes you feel a certain way as opposed to something that you only read about or heard about? I don't know. Does that play a role in it? Maybe it does. I don't know. I can't I can't really explain it. I mean, there's a lot of wrestlers who have done a lot of really awful things. Some even worse than that. But it doesn't get as much attention. Also, you know, when you're in the public eye more often. So Austin's kind of been off the radar more so than Hogan has in recent years. I feel like Hogan's always getting involved with these new projects and stuff, and he's kind of putting his brand out there, and he's marketing this and marketing that, and he has a reality show, and then boom, you know, you get this big sex tape, and it makes all the headlines, and I don't know, it just creates different feelings for different people. There's no real good answer for it. I feel like you could ask that question to 20 different people and probably get 20 different answers. You know, and there are people that'll also tell you that they don't like him either, or excuse his behavior, or don't want to see him on TV. I don't know. Everybody feels differently. Is it hypocritical? Sure. Sure it is. But that's just the way it is. Thank you, brother, for the question. Prince Vegeta says, how long do you see this reign for Cody this time around, and who do you see beating him? If they weren't doing Drew right away, I would say him. I still say Randy. I still think you got to build to Cody and Randy. That's what I think. Oh my God, as I live and breathe, look who it is. It is Sidro. Sidro is cheating tonight. No one snitch. Sidro found the room key. Came up to the room. Base Beerus, so Logan versus Cena at the next pay-per-view. Where is Brock? He's back on the farm. Getting paid his full guarantee. So he don't care. Maktub, WWE Wrestler of the Year so far in 2025. Yeah, boy, it's between Io Sky and Gun. I'm going to go Io Sky. Io Sky would be my choice. Bobby Means, what are your predictions for WWE now that we are approaching the second half of the year? I think Chelsea Green will vie for the title. What title? There's a million titles. What title? She already held the U.S. title. I assume you mean the women's, the main championship? Because I don't see that happening. I do think we're going to get a Jade heel turn, though. I do. That's my prediction as far as the women go. And I think Rhea's going to get the belt back in Perth. I think that's what they're building to. I don't think Naomi drops it until Rhea gets it from her in Perth. Cripple Punk, it sounds like my choice to take a nap over watching SmackDown was the more productive choice. Hope you're having a good night solo. Having a better night with you guys than I was watching this show tonight, I can tell you that. Fire Panda says, Io Sky, Gunther, and Dirty Dom. My top 3 for 2025 so far. All good choices. Yeah, I was going back and forth between Io and Gunther. But I ended up going Io. Cripple Punk also says, thank you for reviewing it. As of late, I would rather support you over WWE any day. Bring it on. Let me have all the love. I'm here for you every week. I love it. I love it. I love hearing it. I love hearing it. Death Scythe, if I had one wish, it would be a Freddy versus Jason versus Michael film, or at least a Michael versus Jason film. And who's your pick to win? I love Michael. I love Jason. I don't really care for Freddy. So it's not Freddy. Oh man, you know, I gotta go Jason. I gotta go Jason. It's a great name too. Death Scythe, if I had one... Oh, we just read that one. Devin from NJ, if Cena stayed a heel, would he have retained against Cody at SummerSlam? so they could continue the story of him possibly retiring with the title. No. I think the plan was always for him to lose the championship at SummerSlam. They were not going to have him hold it until the very last match of the year. I never believed that that was the plan. I never believed that that was the whole point of the storyline, is that he has to hold the title until the end of the year. I think it worked out. In that regard, I think it worked out exactly the way that they intended for it to. Darth Panic, folks on the internet keep saying TKO is ruining WWE. Is TKO actually calling the shots within WWE, or is it Triple H and Nick Khan? Oh, believe me, TKO definitely has influence here. If you don't think they have influence, I got news for you. I mean, Triple H and Nick Khan obviously have a lot of power and say, especially Nick Khan, over what happens. But yes, there is influence from TKO. They are all collaborating together. Mark Shapiro, Ari Emanuel, they're intimately involved with all the key business decisions. Decisions are not being made or approved without TKO knowing about it or pitching for it. Whether or not you believe they're ruining WWE is, subjective. They're certainly making more money now than they've ever made before. So if you go strictly based on money made, then they're not ruining WWE. But if you don't like the constant, the sponsorships and the logos on the mats and all these other things they've integrated into the product, then you probably feel like TKO is ruining WWE. There's a lot of things, a lot of changes that have been made to the product that I don't like. But they're still making money hand over fist, so that's what they care about. Chris Hogan, who sings Back to Love, the song with the long sax intro. I tried looking it up, all I get is Chris Brown results. It's definitely not Chris Brown. Ultra Boss. It's a great song. We didn't open with it tonight, but you never know when we might open with it. But it's a band called Ultra Boss. Should go check them out. Joseph Stewart, do you remember between January until his return at Super Brawl 2000 in WCW? It says Sting's shadow in dark silhouette appeared on the Nitro set, pointing his bat at Lex Luger, scaring both Lex Luger and Elizabeth. I don't remember that, actually. I remember the Sting and Vampiro stuff. That I don't remember. No. I don't like that period of WCW. I did not like the product in the year 2000. Joseph Brooks, buy, sell, rent on these dream matches and feuds that ended up being disappointing. AJ Styles and Nakamura, Lashley and Lesnar, Moxley and Punk. I was most disappointed by what they did with Lashley and Lesnar. And then AJ and Nakamura, and then Moxley and Punk. Moxley and Punk, I mean, didn't have any great expectations one way or the other for that feud. It wasn't a feud I was clamoring to see. It was fine, but the other two were definitely more disappointing to me. Base Beerus, buy or sell, Mr. Kennedy or Austin Theory? From McMahon. I don't know what you mean by that. Buy or sell? Buy or sell in what way? Theory, I still think Theory has a pretty big upside as a potential star. I don't know if he'll ever realize it. Kennedy, though, was on his way to being a world champion. I mean, if you want to frame it as the bigger disappointment, then I think the answer is Ken Kennedy. Should have been a much bigger star than he was. And there were different reasons why that didn't happen. Ultra Beast Boys. Better potential wrestling heel, Vic Mackey or Shane from The Walking Dead. They were both very good heels. Vic Mackey, though, is one of my favorite all-time TV characters. Imagine Vic Mackey is like the general manager. Be a better GM than Nick Aldis was tonight. Base Beerus, Lashley should have been way bigger in WWE. Duff's Viz, why did the lawnmower stop working? It got tired of being pushed around. That might be my favorite one so far. Jungle Jesus says, thank you, Solo. Thank you, Jungle Jesus. I appreciate it very much. TJ Stevens, just showing some love. Drop a like. Yeah, I think we already broke the goal for Be the Booker. The secondary goal, we're a little more than halfway there. But we're 463, so you're going to get at least one round to Be the Booker. If you want two, we'll see if we get 10 out of 10 on that Super Chat goal. We got WWE Wrestling and Gaming. Do you see Cena competing in War Games in November? He is on the poster, I believe, right? I think he's on the poster for Survivor Series. And I don't believe he's ever been in a War Games match before, so maybe he wants to do one before he retires. So yeah, I could see Cena in War Games. Unless the plan is to save the Cena-Brock match for Survivor Series. Do a big match in Petco Park. Then you can have Cena versus Lesnar, and you can have your 2 War Games matches. Prince Vegeta, rank these emotional WrestleMania world title wins. Benoit, Daniel Bryan, Benoit. You listed Benoit twice. Kofi, Cody, and Jey Uso. You want me to rank them, huh? I was in the stadium for 2 of those. I was in the stadium for Daniel Bryan and for Kofi. Kofi was actually a very emotional moment. I literally could see people crying in the crowd. With Daniel Bryan, I didn't see people crying. It was just jubilation and just happiness and excitement. So I remember that. The Benoit thing is emotional in a different kind of way now. I think for me personally, I gotta go Bryan number 1 for me. I go Bryan number 1. I go... Debating if I do Cody and then Kofi or Kofi and then Cody. I think I go Bryan, Cody, Kofi. I'm not going to rank Benoit. I can't rank it anymore. So I'm taking him off the list. And Jey Uso is dead last. You can't go wrong with Bryan, Kofi, or Bryan, Cody, and then Kofi. But Jey Uso is definitely last. Eminem says, I'll kick off my birthday weekend with you and the Solo fam. And finish off Monday night with you and the Solo fam. Well, first of all, happy birthday, Eminem. My top 5 SummerSlam matches. Brett versus Taker, number 5. HBK against Triple H, number 4. Brock and Roman, number 3. Brock and Roman. Oh, 20. Okay, yes. Okay. I was thinking of the wrong one. The last man standing match. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Number 2, Brett versus Owen. And number 1, Brett versus Bulldog. Yeah, all great matches. If you want to know my list, I just ranked them on the podcast this past weekend. Episode 923. Go check it out. Death Scythe, I dread to imagine how Mother Wayne would have been booked under Vince McMahon. You know how she would have been booked under Vince. She would have been booked literally under Vince McMahon. On the couch, in the back, like he did with all the other divas. You don't even have to ask the question. You already know the answer. Sidro. Haven't heard from Sidro in a while. No one ever laughs at my joke about a skunk who got its anal glands surgically removed. I guess it doesn't make any sense. Love you, Solo. I love how Sidro's first joke back in quite some time, and he had to work anal glands into the joke. Terrible Dried Chicken. In the next few years, WWE will land a huge sponsorship deals with McDonald's, Under Armour, and Coca-Cola. That's what they want. The more the merrier as far as like those big brands. The ones that always shunned wrestling and looked down and thumbed their nose at WWE. Vince McMahon always hated he couldn't get these big car commercials. And now all these big brands are tripping over each other to do business with WWE. It's the Nick Khan effect. The TKO effect. Base Beer says Orton's wife is way hotter than Cardi B. She's a looker. Sidro, what has 2 butts and kills people? Oh my God. An assassin. An assassin. 2 butts and kill 2 butts and kills people. Oh man. I love you, Sidra. Joseph Brooks in the Mark Henry A&E documentary, he said that the Hall of Pain run came because he was legit upset about a prank. Him being legit angry at the time is what made that run good. What say you? Yeah, I remember that prank. That prank was he was out for a dark match after SmackDown one night. So he went to the ring and he waited and he waited and he waited. They had no match for him. They only sent him out there because he thought he had a match. While he went out there, everybody left the backstage area. They left Gorilla. So he got angry waiting out there. Finally, he just went to the back and he saw nobody was around. Everybody was gone and he was not happy. And there was a look in his eyes. And I think Vince was like, that guy right there. That's the guy I need you to be for me on TV. And that's how the Hall of Pain run happened. Larry Jester, you win the Intercontinental Gold in '94. What's the strap color? White. I would have it on a white strap. Base Beer is scariest wrestler ever. I say Unmasked Kane in 2003. I don't know. I would say, especially if I had to be in the ring with him, I would say either Brock Lesnar or Big Van Vader in the early 90s. Sidro. Solo, you really should take up marathon training. It will help you in the long run. And just drove past a... Hold on. Just drove past a burning Cybertruck. I can smell the Elon Musk. I hope nobody here owns one, but those trucks are just the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I've seen a couple of them around here, and I had a park next to one. I feel like they were made for people who just like to drive around thinking they're in a Transformers movie. I think they're ugly as sin. Duff's Vids, what did the bra say to the hat? You go on ahead and I'll give these two a lift. You know, I was going to say Sidro was kind of getting a leg up on Duff's Vids, and then Duff's Vids, he kind of redeemed himself with that one. You go on ahead and I'll give these two a lift. I like it. Leopoldo. When a blind girl gives you a hand job and her girlfriend or boyfriend, well, maybe girlfriend, boyfriend walks in on you, would you say, I kept telling her, bro, that's not my hand? Man, you guys got to get your mind out of the gutter, man. You've been hanging out with the wrong people. We had one about a deaf girl. Now we got one about a blind girl. Navy 4181. After what's been happening in the WNBA, Cody Rhodes should be grateful that he was only hit with a rubber chicken at WrestleMania. Oh man, can you imagine if he got hit with one of those neon green I'm trying to picture that in my head. Like, it would have completely ruined the ending of WrestleMania. It's supposed to be the serious moment. And then somebody throws one of those things in the ring. Don't give anybody any ideas. Dry Chicken Heel Heat tonight. And Boomy. He-Man was a terrible cartoon show. Yeah, that's a pretty shitty opinion. I think less of you now than I did 5 seconds ago. He-Man is like one of the all-time great cartoons. Super Pony, who are your top 5 Canadian wrestlers of all time? Brett and Owen are definitely on that list. Jericho has to be on that list. So we got Brett, we got Owen, we got Jericho. There's been a lot of Canadians to come out in the wrestling world over the years. I might have Kevin Owens on that list, honestly. Brett, Owen, Jericho, Owens. I don't know who my number 5 would be. Kenny Omega. Yes, of course. Kenny Omega. How is Kenny Omega not going to be on that list? I think there you go. I think that completes it. Boss Top Rich. Lem and Ronnie failed to clear the room and two-time killed Terry. Get over it and don't bring it up again. Bonus points to you if you get that reference. You're somebody that I would definitely get along with. Thank you, Boss Top. Thank you, Boss Top. Oh, what a great show. I miss it. I have to rewatch it. I have to rewatch The Shield again one of these days, all 7 seasons. Great show. Happy birthday again to Eminem. All right, so as we are approaching 500 likes, it is time for our one and only round here, and I'm hoping for a good one tonight. Our one and only round of Be the Booker. Let's do it. Let's do it.
It is now time to be the Booker.
Earthquake, Dino Bravo. See, now you're just naming Canadian wrestlers. It's supposed to be naming the best Canadian wrestlers. All right. It would not be a complete card without a tag team match, playa. So let's book one. And we have the Street Profits, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, now the former WWE Tag Team Champions. Kicking us off here and Be the Booker. The Street Profits. Oh, we had a little hiccup there. We thought we were going with Ms. Truth, and actually this is a downgrade because we ended up on AOP. I might have given it the buzzer regardless, but at least there was a chance. But Akam and Razar against the Street Profits is not a match that I care to book for my show. I'm sorry. That is a fail. Women's Be the Booker, we have Roxanne Perez. There she is, the former NXT Women's Champion. Current women's... Well, no, actually, I'm stuck in last week. I was going to say one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, but not anymore. Not after SummerSlam. It will be Roxanne Perez against Queen Zelina. That is our women's match. And I really do. I like Roxanne, though. On the strength of Roxanne, I have to give that the bell. Two tiny women. But I am a big Roxanne Perez fan. And our main event of the evening. The main event to end all main events is upon us. And we are kicking things off with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I like it. I approve. Now, if only we can get him a really good opponent. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat against the bad guy, Razor Ramon. I approve. A match that we never got to see anywhere. Scott Hall, Razor Ramon against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That would have been a really good wrestling match. See, this is why we do Be the Booker, man. Now I'm thinking about what a match like that would have looked like. I think that would have been a hell of a match. Damn. Now I'm pissed we never got to see it. Two out of three. That's right. I'll take it, Chico. I'll take it, Chico. That'd be an excellent match. Put the Intercontinental title on the line. You got yourself one hell of a championship match right there. Sidro. What did the coffee report to the police? A mugging. And why do people in Finland stay home during winter? For happiness. From all the indoor Finns. Oh, man. The endorphins. Oh, man. Sidro. Joseph Brooks, as bad as Goldberg's first run, are there any bright spots in that run? The only ones I could think of are him beating The Rock, and he won the world title. Yeah, there actually is. It's called the Elimination Chamber at SummerSlam, which is where he should have won the championship. He went on a tear in that Elimination Chamber match. I mean, he was ripping people left and right, and the fans were into it, and then he got hit with a sledgehammer and pinned. Killed the whole vibe. Plus, you know, he had a spear that he gave to Christian where he just fucking destroyed that guy. And the spear to Nunzio as well in the Royal Rumble in 2004. So, yeah, there were some bright spots. And Terrible Dried Chicken says, just kidding about He-Man. I never hated it. Skeletor was one of the funniest villains in the 80s. His one-liners were funny as hell. Skeletor is the best, man. I love Skeletor on Robot Chicken as well. Whenever they would have a skit for He-Man, Skeletor was fucking great. Andre says, I didn't get the one from Finland. Someone explain it to Andre. Yes, another screw job in the reign of terror. SummerSlam 2003. It's too bad because, you know, the next month is when Goldberg actually won the title. But I don't remember liking that match nearly as much. That was biker shorts Triple H. He had torn his groin. He was wrestling with a torn groin. And he had to wear these really, really tight biker shorts. He just looked ridiculous. He did. I think he was mostly clean shaven. He had like the mustache, but that was it. He just looked so fucking weird during that period. I hate that version. That period of Triple H. and the Reign of Terror. I just fucking hate it so much. Oh my God. Base Beerus says, I remember listening to you in the summer of 2013, TV Tracks. You were talking about the Wyatts' upcoming debut at SummerSlam. Man, I'm old. That was a long time ago. Well, thank you, Base Beerus. Base Beerus has been around with me for quite some time. Skeletor has better quips than the Crypt Keeper. He had the white tape on his quads along with the biker truck. Yeah, he was just all beat up and just very boring. You know, but it was not a fun period of time for me watching WWE television. SmackDown gave me more joy than Raw did. He was one of the reasons why. He was the main reason why. Devin from NJ. My dad thinks that Cena's abrupt face turn is due to the ESPN deal. Does Solo agree? No. One doesn't have anything to do with the other. It has everything to do with the fact that they have certain opponents now lined up for him in the latter half of this year who are heels that he can now work with, including Logan Paul, including Brock, and whoever else they're going to set him up with. I would like to think it was also a realization that the heel stuff wasn't working. But if you ask them, they would probably say, oh, it's cinema. It went exactly the way that we were hoping it would. I think that as the years go on, time will not be kind. I feel like time's already not kind, but time will not be kind to the John Cena heel turn. And a lot of people are going to look at what happened at Elimination Chamber and they're going to say, man, what might have been? Maybe it could have worked if they just would have zigged instead of zagging, and if this guy stuck around, and it could have been so much better. And it just shit the bed. But I also believe it came 13 years too late. It was too late. It was at least a decade too late. Better Tales from the Crypt movie, Demon Knight or Bordello of Blood. I remember Bordello of Blood. I don't remember much about Demon Knight. Which was the one that had Dennis Miller in it? Was that Bordello of Blood? I think that one. God, when did that come out? That probably came out in like 94. Ken says, was at MetLife last weekend and the crowd really popped for Cena after the Titantron showed the colors of OG Cena. Yeah, it was actually kind of cool the way they did that because they had the white letters on the screen that said John Cena. And so you think, okay, or at least, I mean, I didn't, but there were people in the stadium who were probably thinking like little kids like, oh man, he's still a heel. And then boom, the colors hit and like everybody goes nuts. So the way they did that was very clever. Demon Knight was better. I may be due for a rewatch then. I haven't seen Demon Knight since it probably first came out. Bordello was Dennis Miller and Angie Everhart. Oh my God, Angie Everhart. Forgot all about her. So yeah, on the Sound Off this weekend, I'll do a whole segment on the ESPN stuff, give my thoughts on that, try to break things down because there's still a lot of confusion over it. So we'll talk about the ESPN deal, what it means, what we know, what we don't know. I'll talk more about Brock. There's actually a bunch of little news and notes. There's AEW news and controversy and Hogan's funeral. Brooke Hogan and Bret Hart made some comments about a lot of things, and Joey Ryan tried to sneak back into wrestling and was quickly excommunicated yet again. So we'll talk about all that. That'll be episode 924. So that'll drop later in the afternoon on Sunday. So keep your eye out for that. What were Solomonster's favorite snacks as a kid? I used to pack some of that Polly-O string cheese in my lunchbox when I would go to school. You know what? I used to eat this candy called Bonkers. And I don't know if they still sell it. That was my thing. So like think Starburst. It was kind of like a candy like, and I love Starburst too, but it was kind of like that. One of those little squares. You put them in your mouth and chew them. But it was called Bonkers. So I love those. And probably a lot of the crap that every kid liked back then, all the candy bars and shit and fucking ring pops and sour straws, all the stuff that you really should not be having. I was all about that. Fruit by the foot, fruit roll-ups. Base Beers, what's going on with Karrion Kross? I will address Karrion Kross as well on the Sound Off this weekend. But in short, the update is there is no update. And Kross himself has said that everything you're reading online, don't believe any of it. The truth will come out very soon. But we'll talk about that as well. Joseph Stewart, thank you for the $4.99, brother. Do you think Bret Hart could have made a career in Hollywood after Lonesome Dove? I don't. Bret never struck me as the type that was going to go to Hollywood and really make it big. I love Bret, but I don't see him as some Hollywood star. I'm sorry. Could he have found some sort of TV role? Maybe. I mean, he did on Lonesome Dove for that one season or 2 seasons, but in movies, yeah, I don't see it. Anyone remember Squeeze It? Never heard of Squeeze It. Is that what she said? I don't know. Never heard of it. Dunkaroo. I've heard of Dunkaroos. I didn't partake. Twinkie. Oh, of course, Twinkies. Yellow dye number 5. Twinkies were good. I'm getting fat just talking about this shit. Holiday 197. Do you see Chris Jericho returning to WWE to retire? Yes. Yes, I do. Corey says grapes. You know what? That's the healthiest thing anybody's mentioned in the chat so far. I love strawberries. Strawberries, grapes, apples. Cantaloupe. Not a fan of honeydew. Not really a watermelon guy. I don't hate watermelon, but I'm not really a big fan of it. I hate the seeds. Pineapple, not really. Kiwi, no. Pears, no. Nectarines, not so much. But instead of all this other garbage, you got to have a good fruit salad. That's what you need. Pizza rolls. Oh, God. Starburst, yeah. Well, Starburst was a favorite of mine. I did not like the lemon. So I would go through the bag, if it was like a bag, or if it wasn't, if it was just a regular package, I would pick out the yellows and throw them away. My favorites were the cherry and then the strawberry. Orange I could tolerate. Lemons I didn't like. Oh, God. Cotton candy. Oh, God. That's the worst. That's just the worst. It's like fucking hair. How do you eat that shit? I felt like I was eating hair. I was like gagging. It's like, who the hell eats this garbage? Strawberry Starburst is all you need. They didn't sell full packages of it, though. You'd have the mix. If they would have sold full packages of the cherry or the strawberry, I would have bought them. Did they have an all reds pack? All red everything? I didn't know that. This is news to me. Actually, there was another one, a gummy snack that I liked. They were like little gummies, and you would bite into them, and they had, oh God, what was it called? Shit. You would bite into them, and it like a red cherry goo would come out of them. What the hell were those things called? Those I really liked. If I remember the name, I'll tell you. Chris Manson, look at this guy. Showing off 51 months of membership. What were some of your favorite freestyle songs from back in the day? Freestyle? Freestyle songs? I don't know. Give me some examples. Jog my memory. Gushers. Yes. Thank you. Gushers. Loved Gushers. Gushers are awesome. Ever try Mexican candy? I have not, no. Base Beer says they have all strawberry Mentos. I did not know that. Is Be My Lover considered a freestyle? I like Be My Lover. Those sort of early 90s like dance songs or club songs, I'm all about that. Like La Bouche and all that. I'm all into that. It takes me back. Rhythm is a Dancer. All those songs they would advertise on those commercials when you would see the ads for like, now that's what I call music. And look what pops up on screen. Oh my God. It's like it knows. It's like it's a fucking AI. It's like it knows. But yeah, I like all that stuff. Some of that Euro trance and all that. Dev to Dust. Remember when Tom Brady used to terrorize the Jets? Oh, I remember. Return of the Mac. Of course. Hey, we got Penny. It says, what's your favorite bagel order? Oh, man. Back in the day, it would have been just a simple plain bagel toasted with cream cheese. And I can't do the cream cheese anymore. So, honestly, you're going to be very upset with me when I say this. But for me, it's just a toasted plain bagel. That's it. Nothing on it. If I put anything on it, maybe some grape jelly. I never like lox or, anything like that. So, but I could just do it plain. What can I say? Alice DJ Hadaway. I used to have a whole playlist of all of those songs. Navy says, all this candy talk reminds me of Encino Man. Shout out Brendan Fraser. Amber. Yep, Amber was another one. Jellyhead. That was another one. No peanut butter. Peanut butter on a bagel? No. Why would I do that? Yeah, no peanut butter on my bagel. Trying to see if I can bring up my playlist here just to see what I have. Oh, here we go. I do have my, well, it's kind of disorganized, but what I have in my list here. Oh, This Is How We Do It, of course. Montel Jordan. Rhythm is a Dancer, I mentioned. Oh, Another Night by Real McCoy. Everything But the Girl. Missing. Got some Ace of Base on there. Mr. Vane. Culture Beat. Got to have Mr. Vane on there. Got some Robert Miles. I think I have some Paul Oakenfold on my list. Remember in college, I was listening to Oakenfold. Good stuff, though. Right? Dreamer, Live in Joy. Who let the dogs out? Who said that? Brian said, who let the dogs out? Or Scatman Joe? Or Cotton Eye Joe? Is Nolan Thomas on there? No. Only the one song. Brother, Brother. Trying to think what else I had. I had Sir Mix-a-Lot. I definitely had Baby Got Back. I knew all the words to that. There's a group called Lick Click. A song called Call Me. Base Beer says grilled cheese. Sharon Cox. This is the rhythm of the night. Oh, yeah. See, Sharon knows. Ray Dino. I've been a fan of yours since the first wrestling matches between the first men of the first wars. I believe that was those are the early podcasts from the BC era that I did. It was a little hard to send the signal out to people, but we managed to pull it off. Yes, those are the early days of the sound off. Used to wear a loincloth when I would record. It's too bad I didn't have my video camera working at the time, so nobody saw me. Chris Manson, what's that song that went like, it's getting kind of hectic? Oh, I don't remember. It's getting kind of hectic. Help us out, chat. Oh, man. Castles in the Sky. Fat Boy Slim. CC Peniston. Finally. Don't forget Barbie Girl by Aqua. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Okay, that's a little earlier than what we're talking about here. The Mortal Kombat theme is goated. Hell yeah. You can hear it actually in the trailer for the Mortal Kombat 2 movie coming out in October. The Power by Snap. Yep. I've got the power. Thong Song by Cisco. See, now we're getting into like 97. Now we're getting into like the late 90s now. I know Zachary Candido. I know he's a big fan of the Thong Song, right? Sings it every day. Tom's Diner. Man, you guys are taking me back here. I hope you're jotting these down, by the way. If some of you are too young to know about these songs, you better be collecting these names here. Prodigy. The Fugees. With Mr. Fuji. Did you like Ice MC? You talking about Vanilla Ice? Ninja Rap is his best song. Actually, there was a song called Snow by Informer. Or maybe it was, no, I'm sorry. It was called Informer. The song was Informer. It was by Snow. And nobody ever knew the lyrics to this song. Every time you would sing the song, it was just total gibberish. Like, nobody knew the actual words to this song. But there was a hot minute there where that was a big hit. Naughty by Nature. Down with OPP. Man, I want to go out now. I want to go hit the fucking club. It's still early yet. It's not even 1. We'll do a meetup in the city. We'll hit the club. There you go. Arrested Development. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Were they the ones that did Mr. Wendell? Remember Mr. Wendell? Yeah, Mr. Nobody, that I don't know if those were the actual words, but that's basically all anybody would say. A licky boom boom. I'm like, what the fuck is a licky boom boom? What does that even mean? Drew Mackincock says, drinks on me. I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to hold you to that. CNC Music Factory, Quad City DJs. Solomonster, hit the late clubs. I want to see that. Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio. Mm-hmm. And Fantastic Voyage, of course. I mean, come on. If Gangsta's Paradise is number 1, then Fantastic Voyage is number 2. 2 Unlimited. Look at this guy. Drew already knows, man. He says Jack and Coke for the Solomonster. He already knows. Only if it's a double. Maddie's like, Gen Z's in here. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I feel bad for all you Gen Zers. You missed out. Now you got your songs now. For all you know, it's fucking AI that's singing it. You don't even know if it's real. West Coast James, 50 months of membership, 9 Inch Nails. Yeah, I wasn't listening to it much back then, but yeah, 9 Inch Nails is great. Drew, I'm going to buy you Cacti, Travis Scott's Seltzer. You don't have to do that, but I appreciate the offer. I am not drinking anything from Travis Scott. Oh, Drew says he's Gen Z. I didn't know that. Okay. All right. Well, look, I'm giving you a little bit of an education. I like a lot of the shit now too, but I'm just saying. There was some good stuff back then, too, that you should check out. Fiend. Way to kill the mood there, Skylar. Do I like Travis Scott's music? It's not bad. Amish Paradise. Radiohead. They had a great song called Karma Police. Ooh, Rammstein. I love Rammstein. Mine, hers, Brent. Will you be watching the TMZ special on Hulk Hogan next week? No. I'm busy. Yeah, Ricky Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is goated himself in terms of his music. Absolutely. American males. American males. Now I'm going to have that stuck in my head. Who did that to me? Is that Ray? I'm enjoying this list that I'm seeing here in the chat. Oh, I didn't know that. Mine, hers, Brent was in Hellboy 2. I didn't know that. Well, of course, I didn't see Hellboy 2, so how would I know that? That's pretty cool. Maze, thank you for the 5. So Solo, you being an 80s kid, how big was Thriller back then? It was huge. Thriller, Beat It. MJ was huge back then. Steely Dan. There were a couple of others before I get out of here. There were a couple of others I was trying to think of, see if it would jog my memory, but it's not coming to me. Don't forget though, Baltimore, Tarzan boy. Good old Jungle Jack over there, Jungle Jack Perry. Chris Manson, how big of a news was it when Michael Jackson went from black to white? Oh, they made a big deal about it. He was always in the news. Every time his appearance would change, or he, would change something about himself. It was like worldwide news. He really did, though, end up just looking like a completely different person. It's really quite shocking. Metallica with Hogan on bass. Have a good night, Sarah. Pepsi commercial. Yeah, Pepsi commercial was huge. Pepsi commercials where he got burned. And his hair caught on fire. Actually, there was a song, and this is not like... Speaking of songs, there was a song, and it wasn't 80s or even 90s. Well, maybe it was late 90s, but there was a song called by CKY called 96 Quite Bitter Beings that somebody sent me once. They go, hey, listen to this. You might like it. And I remember that being, I couldn't tell you any other song that they ever did, but 96 Quite Bitter Beings is a song that stands out to me if you've never heard that one before. And then, of course, you know, you got things like The Devil Went Down to Georgia, right? Charlie Daniels Band. Throw some of that in there. I'm kind of a mutt when it comes to music. You can go from one type of song to the other. I'm not really married to like one kind. Hogan wrote Billie Jean for Michael Jackson. The Juliet says, I'm doing my part for Double B the Booker. Can we get 3 more for the goal? I didn't even realize we're at 7 out of 10. I don't think we're going to make the goal, but Juliet, I do appreciate the love. I don't think we're quite close enough here. Although I've been enjoying this music discussion far more than I enjoyed SmackDown tonight. Cultured Solo. You are cultured. Well, I try to be. Hulkster in Heaven is a favorite of Kevin's. Did I buy John Cena or Macho Man's album? I did not. No. I always thought Enjoy the Silence was a great Depeche Mode song. Get some Don Henley in there, maybe. You're Rocking the Boat. That was always a good one.
Off is the direction you can fuck.
Or maybe not. Base Beerus. The 23 says, Assemble. We're assembling quite the album here, I have to say. We put this all together on like a CD or something. We might sell some copies. CNC Music Factory asked Hogan to sing Everybody Dance Now, but he was wrestling Andre in Wembley. Well, what are you going to do? He was busy. He was wrestling Andre in Wembley in front of 97,000. I mean, priorities. Anyone remember Carmen Electra's rap album? I don't believe you. I don't believe that Carmen Electra ever had a rap album. I don't want to believe that. Can't believe nobody's mentioned Evanescence. Or some George Harrison, Cheer Down. Remember that one? Zach Reyna with the 1999. Since Down with the Sickness was always the go-to backyard wrestling song, what would be your best early 2000s? Does that say butt rock? Glorious. Oh. No, I won't give It is Darth Panic. Who look at this guy. Darth Panic with that super chat has actually unlocked a bonus round of Be the Booker, which I honestly was not even paying attention to. I was so engrossed in this music discussion that we have hit 10 out of 10. And for you, I will play some Eagle Eye Cherry tonight. There you go. Save tonight. He saved it. That's what he did. Darth Panic saved tonight by letting us hit the goal. But let me just go back to Zach here. What would be your best early 2000s? Does that say... like, I feel like I'm misreading this. Butt rock? What the hell is butt rock? Hold on a second. Well, I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that, but early 2000s rock song for wrestling. Oh man, does it have to be one that they actually used? I mean, they used so many different songs back then, and obviously, I mean, look, you think of AC/DC Highway to Hell for SummerSlam back in 1998. Yeah, see, I'm not the only one. What is butt rock, says Loves Cats. Butt rock is what they call mainstream rock. Why? Why do they call it that? What a weird way to describe it. It's Creed, Nickelback type of beat. I see. Okay. I see. Well, WWE sure loved their Creed back in the day. But I don't know if I had a favorite. I mean, I enjoyed some of it. Even the Fred Durst stuff. I don't know if I had a favorite. I really like Linkin Park. I don't know if that would qualify, but I was a big Linkin Park fan. Let the bodies hit the floor. Drew McIncock says, can we get an "Oh, you got me, brother" super chat?
Oh, you got me, brother.
Well, there is none, but I'll give that to you. There you go. You got me, brother. A super chat, though, might not be a bad idea. Like a low one. Base Beer says, no Repo Man tonight. I can't guarantee it. I make no guarantees. We don't know what it's going to land on. Base Beer says, the Juliet made Be the Booker happen. Shout out to her. Shout out to the Juliet. Got the ball rolling. Retro KOH. Never forget that Michael Jackson and Brad Buxer helped do the music for Sonic 3, the game, not the movie. Well, there you go. I didn't know that. Duff's Vids, what does an escalator say when it stops working? Nothing. It just stares. Just stares. Get it? Because it's not moving. And Power Spying Games, Weathered by Creed. Still goes hard. Yeah, look, I mean, Creed had some good songs, man. Not just My Sacrifice was not the only song they had. I mean, they had, God, what was, Is This the End? That was another one. One Last Breath. Weathered is a great one. There was one more that I liked, To Whom It May Concern. So they had a few good ones. I also like the Goo Goo Dolls too. There were a lot of songs they had that I liked. Big Machine, Black Balloon, Iris. Iris is still the best. Iris is just like the climax of that song is just this epic climax that would be like perfect for a movie. Rickshaw with a $10 super chat. What was gonna finish the goal, but thanks anyway for the decade. Probably since I first remember seeing and hearing Solomonster. Let's fucking go. Be the booker. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, let's not waste any more time then. Let's get into it. Be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
Well, as we usually do here with these bonus rounds, we are going to tack on a stipulation. That's how it works. A dog collar match. A dog collar match. Can't really do a tag team dog collar match, or can you? We'll do a women's. How about that? We'll do a women's dog collar match. I feel like we did one already, but we'll do another one. We'll do another one. Wendy Chu. Wendy Chu in a dog collar match. It's good to see we have a lot of Iris fans in here. Iris is just a fucking great song, man. And you know what's weird also? Black Balloon, more so than Iris, Black Balloon. It's funny how the brain works, because there's certain songs that I associate with certain time periods and certain years. And I know that those songs, they came out right around 1998. And I will always associate those songs with the Attitude Era, because I was going to a bunch of Raws back then, and I remember being in the car, and these songs would be what was playing on the radio. And I always associate those songs with that Attitude Era, like the summer of 98, for example, like that whole period. It's weird how that works. Wendy Chu in a dog collar match against Julia. Julia in a dog collar match. Julia's going to fuck up some shit in that match, is what she's going to do. Yeah, Daddy Ugarte says, Wendy Chu had a great match with Tiffany and then got sent down to Evolve. What the hell? Was that's the match where they had like the Legos in the ring? Yeah, that was actually a really good match on NXT. And I think Tiffany disappeared after that. And the belief was that she got injured in the match. And then she went on Logan Paul's podcast this week and revealed that she actually did not get hurt, but didn't get hurt in the ring. But she actually got into an incident in her parking garage or something. And she caused it. And she got out of her car and she confronted the other driver. And she pushed the woman first, and then the woman pushed back, and then the woman's husband basically, I think, punched her in the face, and then they started stomping on her. She had a boot print on her face. She had like a broken bone in her face. Like really crazy shit. And she never told anybody about this until now. That's how she got hurt. That's why she was out for so many months. But really, she brought that whole thing on herself by getting out of her fucking car, which you should never do. But I remember that being a good match, the one with her and Wendy Chu. I forgot the stipulation, but it was one of those weapons garbage hardcore matches. Yeah, then she gets back in her car and she's crying and she leaves and then realizes she left her phone. So she drives back to go retrieve her phone and they're still there and they chase after her. Like, that whole story is just wild. And she never reported it. She never went to the police. She never reported it because she didn't want to get in trouble. She didn't want, WWE to find out. So she said, I'm not going to say anything. Meanwhile, this guy beat her up and stomped on her fucking face and broke, I don't know if it was her orbital or whatever it was, but broke a bone in her face. It's craziness. All right, we're going to have ourselves a Texas death match. It's going to get bloody. How about a tag team Texas death match? You don't see too many of those. Yes, we are talking about Tiffany Stratton, Snow Dog. What is with these fucking guys? Oh my God. It's Well Done from mid-90s WWF. This has to be 94. Timothy Well and Stephen Dunn. Get it? They're well done. That's the way Daddy Ugarte eats his steak. Well done. Against Money Incorporated in a Texas death match. Oh, man. I mean, it just, you talk about a stipulation that just doesn't fit. Imagine IRS in a fucking Texas death match. No one can save this match. As soon as we landed on Well Done, it was cooked. That was the end. Saturday morning squash. A Texas death match on Saturday morning. All right, our main event is going to... Ooh, look at this. Solomonster's Choice. What kind of match do we want? What kind of match do we want? We get to pick. I throw it to you. What is our stipulation here for the main event? We get to choose. I don't know. It won't be Texas Death. I know that. Nothing that we've landed on recently. Hell in a Cell, says Holden. Blindfold. Kennel from Hell. These are awful choices, by the way. A buried alive. Oh my God. Buried alive match. Buried alive match. I am a sucker for a good buried alive match. First Blood, I Quit, Fight Pit. Fuck it. We'll do buried alive. We'll do buried alive. All right, we got a buried alive main event. No repo. No repo, man. No repo. No repo. No repo. Are you kidding me? For the second straight main event tonight, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Now all we need is Razor Ramon again. Ricky the Dragon is back in a buried alive match. But wait, Liv Morgan gives you her room key. Now pick a stipulation. But I already did pick a stipulation. I picked my stipulation. So we pick again. We do it over again. Steamboat is a draw. Ricky Steamboat against Booker T in a buried alive match. I think Booker and Ricky might have been in WCW at the same time in like 94. I don't think they wrestled each other. Well, I don't know, actually. I don't think they wrestled each other. I wouldn't think. But they were probably in the company at the same time. So it could have happened. There you go. There you go, folks. Ricky the Dragon is a draw, man. He's main eventing both shows. Ricky was on the A crew, got on a flight, got on the private jet, flew to the next town for the evening show. Joey Jojo Jr. says buy or sell Creed or Alter Bridge. Alter Bridge. Somebody will be very upset with me if I gave another answer. And Nasir Alexander. Remember when Triple H took over and we were hype? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Still better than what we had. Ricky and Booker actually don't need a stip. Well, they don't need a stip, but we gave it one because those are the rules. Was that a clean sweep? You must have missed Well Done in the Texas Death Match against Money Inc. No, it was not a clean sweep. How can you forget that debacle? The stip kind of ruins it, though. Are you saying you don't like the stipulation that I picked? Because I'll have security revoke your ticket and kick you out of the building. Well Done, is that forgettable? Apparently it is. To Duff's Vids. Do they have lips on their gear? They do. I don't know why. I have no idea why. I don't want to know why. But they have lips on their gear. I guess that's where their opponents can kiss their ass. Whatever happened to Well Done after 94? Who gives a shit? Thank you guys for a very fun stream. I do believe we had more fun here in the latter half than many of us had watching SmackDown tonight. So if SmackDown ever goes sideways like it did tonight, at least we can always redeem ourselves here on the stream. Thank you for helping me hit both goals tonight. You guys are awesome. Always the best way to close out the week. Sunday, episode 924 of the podcast will be dropping in the afternoon at some point. A lot of news to cover, big and small. I hope you'll tune in and download and help get us to the top of the charts. We're usually neck and neck with Corny right there at the top of the charts, so go ahead and check that out. The next time I'm live with you here on this channel will be Monday night. That will be for the Raw post show as soon as Monday Night Raw goes off the air. So I hope and expect to see you all here with me then. Until then, be well, stay safe, have yourselves a great night, stay away from Well Done. And Well Done was the OG Kiss My Ass Club, apparently. Yes, Steve. Yes, they were. Actually, that's probably not true, because if they were, they would have lasted longer than they did. Overthrow Cornette. I'm trying. I need your help. See you guys then. Until then, take care, guys.
Nick Wayne's mom has got it going on. It's all I want, and I've waited for so long. Nick Wayne, can't you see? Go away and leave me be. I hope she likes this song, 'cause I'm in love with Nick Wayne's mom.
Nick Wayne's mom has got it going on. Nick Wayne's mom has gotta love this song. Oh, you SOB. Look at this guy. Fashionably late. Leopoldo drops in with a $28 tribute to one Mother Wayne. Says, one more for him. Happy birthday. You talk about Eminem? It's Eminem's birthday. First ever Mexican word of the day. chicken wing. My wife plays the lottery, so chicken wings some money. And don't forget, Skilo's I Wish. I was a little bit solo. Skilo's I Wish? I don't think I ever heard of that before. It's never too late for Nick Wayne's mom, says Holden Caulfield. That is true. That is very true. Leopoldo, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Love you. And again, I will see you. Have a good night.